The Indian subcontinent, the birthplace of one of the first civilizations. From the Indus River to the Himalayas, from the Ganges in Bengal all the way to where it starts to end in Delhi. And the Deccan that borders the sea with the island of Ceylon. But they call this land the British Raj instead of India. And today, that changes. In this video, I'm going to play as India, well, the British Raj, and form India, and free India, and then we're going to conquer a little bit of extra land, just to make some nice borders. So, let's get into it. And in case you're wondering, no mods, and also, this isn't for an achievement, this is just to have fun. I haven't played India before trying to make this video, so it should be fun. But first, I'm going to just build up my industry. So we're going to do Great Indian Peninsula Railway, industrial expansion, and then we're going to try to get that extra research slot with Indian Institute of Science, and then I'm going to move on to the right branch with like building railroads and all of that kind of stuff, until eventually Japan declares a war on China, and once Japan declares war on China, that'll get the war tension high enough for us to do provincial elections and actually start liberating India. And for our construction, we're just going to build civilian factories for now, since you don't really start out with much of an economy at all as India, despite the size of the country. And well, first I'm going to build up the infrastructure in the states I want to build factories in, and then build the factories, because that seems to actually be just a little bit faster than building the factories by themselves. And our military, it's never going to be like huge. It will be a lot bigger by the end of this video, but we're only really going to produce infantry equipment and some convoys in case I need to buy equipment and stuff. But anyways, game starting, and yeah, I'll see you all once something actually happens aside from us doing economic focuses. And now, after finishing the Ishapur arsenal focus, I'm going to wait a little bit for Japan to declare war, now we do provincial elections. It's now time for us to actually start becoming free, so we're going to do Swaraj, because we are going to become independent as soon as possible, instead of doing it peacefully, because doing it peacefully would actually lead to us being at war with the Axis and stuff. And this time around, I'm actually going to go communist, since I feel like we've been going, well, I guess we've been going communist and fascist quite a lot, but I thought it would be more interesting to go down the communist path. But I did seek help from both countries, because I didn't know that all that help was just actually just making your country join the faction if they accepted, which I didn't actually want, because I didn't want to start a war with the Allies. But we finished Indian People's Army, I think is what the focus is called, and that leads to us declaring a civil war against the British Raj for independence. And we actually get less than half of the army, but the army isn't very big, so we can just quick deploy some divisions and then very, very quickly outnumber the Raj, and then quickly take the victory points needed to capitulate them and unite India. And now we win the war against the Raj pretty quickly, and now India is free by 1939. But I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. The actual main goal of this video is not only getting India to become a free country, it is also to make India a major power. Since I think it would be cool to, bring this country from like 16 factories at the beginning to nearly 100 or something like that. And so we're going to start the process of doing that by going up to extensive conscription and getting our country ready to invade some of our neighbors. However, before we actually invade some of our neighbors, we do need to get rid of stuff like risk of famine, and we need to wait for the Indian Civil War to start, since Pakistan is going to revolt eventually. And we can't be at war with like Afghanistan, Nepal, and all of those guys if we're in the middle of a giant civil war. And finishing clampdown on corruption and then doing administrative oversight actually allows your country to industrialize, which in reality just means you get a lot more manpower. But I chose workforce integration to give me a construction bonus on the provinces that I industrialize, since that'll make it easier to build up the economy. And you can actually industrialize any of your, I think it's your cores. You industrialize your core provinces that have max infrastructure, which might seem like a big requirement, but once you get going, it's not that bad. And now, the Indian Civil War begins. And we're not just going to let Pakistan go. We're going to actually declare this war, and I did beforehand get one full army of 24 divisions, and then from the from just the event of the Indian Civil War, I got 24 divisions, or 23 divisions of Hindu nationalists, I think is what they're called, or Hindu militias. And I had the Hindu militias go on the border with Bangladesh, and then my main army focused on Pakistan itself. And then another thing that happened, Burma left the Burma seceded. And so we're not going to deal with that right now, but we will be dealing with it like right after we deal with Pakistan. And in the first stage of this war, I'm going to go after Bangladesh, just so I can have a united front against Pakistan itself, since I think the terrain in Pakistan itself is a lot harder to push through. And there isn't really much to say with this war. A lot of it is just using, basically just getting ourselves in situations where we outnumber the enemy and just using that to win. Now Pakistan is finally dealt with, allowing us to take mostly full control over the old Raj without much risk of rebellion. But we do still have to deal with Burma, but they're not actually going to be able to build an army. So we're just going to justify a quick war goal on them, and then quickly march through their territory since we're not going to have any resistance. And then we'll start moving on to taking out our neighbors. And finally, we have taken full control of the old Raj, and now it is time to first go after Afghanistan, since they do end up, they do usually get invaded by either the Soviets or I think the British even have a focus to invade them if they get into Iran. So I'm going to deploy some extra divisions so that we can cover each part of the border with a lot of troops. And we're just going to go in immediately until we get to a stalemate, which does end up happening, but we are able to break the stalemate after a while. But I'll talk about that once we get there. And we get really close to defeating Afghanistan really quickly, but supply makes this war turn into a stalemate. So I do reorganize the, I think it's reorganize the National Railways, something like that. That gives you a temporary bonus on building up supply hubs. And in the meantime, I also justified on Nepal, and I train up some extra divisions to go fight them while we wait for our supply to get better in Afghanistan. And now that our supply is better, we can do some small pushes to try and, I guess, make it easier to get to the Afghan victory points, and it allows us to get a couple of encirclements. And then we kind of start the Battle of Kabul, but while we're doing this Battle of Kabul, we're also going to deploy our divisions and declare war on Nepal, which will also be a little bit of a slugfest, but not for very long. Mainly because the AI does something pretty stupid later on. And then we take Kabul, and we full annex Afghanistan, because I don't want to deal with the Soviets invading me or anything like that. And then I prepare to go after Bhutan. And Nepal was actually looking like it was going to be a hard country to take over until they just randomly had all of their divisions, except for like 2 divisions, leave the capital. I'm not sure why the AI did that, but anyways, we're going to go after Bhutan next, which isn't going to be much of a challenge. They have 3 divisions in total, and we have like almost 70. And now, with the defeat of Bhutan, I was actually planning to go after Tibet, but I decided not to, and I also exited to the menu just so I could see in the end screen thing. I wanted to see who was keeping me from becoming a major power, and of course it's Bulgaria and Sweden. Now Sweden is normal. They've always, even whenever they didn't have a focus tree, they always got a huge amount of factories, but I don't think I've ever seen AI Bulgaria have almost 100 factories. So Tibet gets guaranteed by the British because Manchukuo had a war go on them. So I just decided to sit by, build up my economy, mainly just building civilian factories. And I also switched over to free trade, which I think showed just a little bit earlier. Just to basically get as many bonuses to my construction speed as I could. And so after quite a bit of building, we finally become a major country by 1943. And that kind of concludes us getting to our goal of this video. If you like this video and maybe you want to see me play in India a little bit more, or maybe you want to see me play another Paradox game, let me know in the comments. And if you really like this video, leave a like, and if you want to see more, subscribe. I'll see you all later, and bye.